How's it going, y'all? And welcome back to Florida Homestead. Folks, today we've been afforded an exciting and awesome opportunity from the folks over at Bwine to take a look at this, the F7Gb2 drone. This thing comes complete with a 4K camera, up to 50 minutes of flight time. It actually includes 2 batteries, which is nice, so if one runs out, you can exchange it with the other. And it's touted as being really beginner friendly, and it's at a pretty reasonable lowish price point, all things considered, when it comes to drones like this. So I was really excited to get the offer. I'm very much so a novice when it comes to any kind of drones. My father has a couple of DJIs and I've flown them once or twice, but I'm very much so an amateur. So we're gonna dive right in and we're gonna see how accessible this is for somebody who really doesn't know what they're doing when it comes to things like this. We're gonna see if we can get some cool footage of the homestead today, and I'll give you guys a review on this thing. So thank you again to Bwine, and let's dive in. Let's see how this thing operates, folks. Come on. Now, when the drone arrived, the first thing we did was take a look at the box. We opened it up and we looked inside, and one of the first things that I really noticed that was awesome was this leather travel bag that it comes with. It's pretty small. It's about 1 foot wide and maybe half a foot long. But it includes everything that you need. There's little compartments for the controller, which is going to go ahead and hook onto your phone. There's actually 2 batteries inside, which is awesome, so that if you go through all the juice on the first one, you can go ahead and switch it out for the second one, and you don't actually have to purchase that separate, like a separate accessory. So I thought that that was pretty nice. One of the things that I noticed about those batteries and the controller is this package does include 2 charging cords, but it doesn't come with the USB charging brick that you would kind of almost assume that would be included. However, I was able to use, here at the house, we have a multitude of these little charging bricks with the USB ports on them. People use them for their phones, people use them for laptops, all different kinds of things. So I'm assuming you probably have something like that yourself, just lying around. Most people do, but it would have been nice to see that included. But with that being said, two batteries. The drone itself was very nice. It has this little safety latch that goes over the top so that your blades don't get damaged when the drone is not in use and when the drone is being stored away. It keeps them neatly tucked alongside the sides of the device so that they don't get snapped up when you're trying to put this thing away, or maybe you bump into something when you're carrying this travel case around. Those wings won't snap and break. So that little safety latch is very nice. So I got the drone out, I downloaded the app on my phone, I got everything all synced up together, and I brought it outside for a flight, and this was my own fault. I actually didn't realize the batteries need to be charged before you can fly it. So I took it up in the air, I got a low battery warning, and I had to come back inside and recharge it, no problem. It took me about 4 hours to fully charge. The controller charged very quickly. It only took about 15-20 minutes, but the batteries themselves took about 4 hours to charge. Now, it is cool that there's 2 charging cables included in this thing, so you can charge both batteries at the same time, assuming you have something to plug them into. So I charged both batteries, we went outside, we got right back to it, and they actually give you like a beginner how to fly tutorial video on the app if you've never flown a drone before, or if it's your first time flying this particular drone. And the tutorial made it really simple. It shows you, how to operate the controls, how that works, how to move the gimbal up and down so that you can get a different pitch or a different angle when you're filming with that 4K gimbal. And it took me about 10 minutes to really get a grasp of the controls. And once I had a grasp of them, honestly, this thing is really cool. One other thing that I really liked about this drone was that it comes equipped with like a safety mode, and you can turn that off pretty easily in the settings, but the safety mode prevents this from going more than like 50 yards away from you, so it keeps it pretty close by, and that's just so like while you're learning the controls, you don't accidentally let this thing drift off into outer space, which I thought was pretty nice. That was pretty thoughtful. But once you're really confident, you can go ahead and remove that safety mode, and then I was able to take this thing easily like half a mile away without any issues, so that worked well. Honestly, it was awesome flying this thing around the homestead, taking a look at the skyline, at the sunset. I was able to get some really nice 4K footage, and I'm already thinking about how I'm going to be using this thing going forward into the future, because I can integrate this into all different kinds of homestead videos. So we have our own drone now, so it's awesome. And the more I flew this thing around, I was slowly getting braver and braver. In the very beginning, I flew it like way up into the air because I didn't want to be near anything that I could potentially collide into. But as I got more and more confident with the controls, I was able to pull it in down low, kind of fly in between the trees to a certain extent, and get some pretty cool shots. So the cows seemed a little bit interested by it. They weren't scared by it, thankfully, but they definitely would look in its direction when it flew close by. Honestly, the controls are really precise. It was a little windy, and it managed to stay relatively stable, so I thought that was really good. Obviously, if it was a severely windy day, you wouldn't fly this thing at all, in my opinion. But for it having like a light breeze, it managed to stay pretty stable, and I was able to fly it in between some trees and some pretty close quarters and get some pretty neat shots with this thing. And so with that being said, y'all, that's going to conclude the video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I want to thank the folks over at Bwine with providing me with this thing to try out and test out. It's really neat. It's really cool. It took me, honestly, maybe 10 minutes or so to get a feel for the controls. It was a little shaky at first, but the app is pretty intuitive. In my opinion, it's just like playing a video game. So if you know how to play a video game, you're going to understand pretty quickly how to fly this thing. And it'll do whatever you need it to do. If you want to get some 4K footage from the air, it's going to provide you with exactly that opportunity to do that, and for a pretty decent price as well, I would say. So I'm, of course, going to have all the links to this below the video, so if you want to learn more, you can do so there. And I want to thank you guys for watching the video. If you're not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you again to the folks over at Bwine. This thing is going to be awesome. I'm going to be including this in a lot of videos in the future here on the YouTube, because I can get aerial footage now. I have a drone. So, guys, God bless you, and it's Thanksgiving here on the Florida Homestead, so happy Thanksgiving. And until next time, this is Justin. Take care, you guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.